Well, we have joining us here in the studio, a pleasure to have with us, two folks from the Maine Ski Museum. And we have Glenn Parkinson, author, and he is a man who really knows his skiing and the history of it. And Kate Barnes, the executive director of the Maine Ski Museum, and who've been working very hard and making some changes. And we're here to talk about some of those. Welcome to the both of you. How are you?
Thank you. It's good to see you again.
Nice to see you as well. So let's start off with maybe the location.
Actually, could I start off with the name?
Surely.
Skiing is really where the long-time roots of the sport go, but snowboarding is a very important part of the sport today. And so we recently changed the name to the Maine Ski and Snowboard Museum.
My mistake, right?
And it's pretty exciting. You know, the skiing and snowboarding, they're just a tool to get you out on the mountain,
right,
to get you out enjoying the winter.
Yeah.
We're all doing the same thing, we're just using a different tool to do it. It's all about carving your marks on the mountain and having a blast doing it.
Right, and if there had been snowboards, they'd be in the museum way back then.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, they'd have the Smurfer, that's pretty close.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. We have that.
Yeah. Hey, talk about some of the tools. I know that you have brought some with you, and we thought maybe we could take a peek at some of these. And I also want to talk about the website. There's been a lot of work done on that. This blue boot here, maybe you start with that, because that's got my curiosity.
In 1969, good Maine company by the name of Bass aligned themselves with Reichley. And Bunny Bass, who many of you have heard of, he was one of the shakers and movers in the early days here at Sugarloaf. He is the gentleman who really promoted Bass as a company and as a ski boot maker. Mm-hmm. In the mid-60s, they aligned themselves with Reichley. And this is the famous Reichley Red Hot. And
only blue.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem. This is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be a bright red boot. And this is a magazine from Ski Magazine from November 1969. That's what it's supposed to look like. This is what we've got. We've got the right boot in the wrong color.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking is, if anyone has a pair of the proper color of Reichley Red Hots, that bright red, we would love to have a pair for the museum. So if anyone out there can give us a hand getting the right color of this boot, I would really appreciate it.
Ah, and red, that was not a
Gotta be
popular
red.
color. That was an unheard of color. Yeah.
This, by the way, is an earlier Bass boot. This is an original Bass boot from the 1930s. Bunny Bass is the guy who came up with this instep strap that really helped hold you down and into the boot. As you can see, clearly it gave a lot more control. Everything was relative. This is an original LL Bean boot. This is one of their ski boots. This again is from 1936. It's cool that Beans sold skis and boots under their name. That's one of their ski boots.
Speaking of skis, this one here looks like it's been hand carved.
This is one of my favorite skis. This is I picture this as being made by some farmer for his kid who's just looking to play in the snow. It's a simple ski. There's no groove. If you look closely, you can see the saw marks on it. And down here, you can even see some of the bark from the end of the wood. This is just a piece of scrap wood that some farmer took a piece of leather and bolted it right through. And there you've got a ski. Well, but, you know, like we were saying earlier, skis are just a tool to get you outside in the snow in the wintertime. And I think this is a beautiful pair of skis, and I just think some kid had a ball on these.
Well, the live edge skis never took off, but the live edge siding certainly took off up here in Sugarloaf. So, and you've got this one here, which is a pretty long one there.
This is another one of my favorite pair of skis. This is from Tubbs, which is now known for snowshoes, but in the early part of the 1900s, they were making skis. The reason these skis are so cool is we've got a 1912 Tubbs catalog that has these skis in it. And they originally had just a leather toe loop. Mm-hmm. So you can see here there's a mortise, a piece of leather went through and around, just like what we're seeing on this pair.
Right.
Just a toe loop to stick your foot in.
Mm-hmm.
But what we then see, 1912, the leather toe loop. In the 1920s, this piece was added. This had a leather heel strap, and it would pivot so you could climb easily. So you've got 1912, 1920s, but then what's cool is you can see the red
Right.
on the bottom here. In 1950, they came out with something called Glazite, which was a lacquer, and they advertised it as red like lips, lasting like the pyramids, and hard as diamonds. So you can see that down in here, the glazite is pretty well worn off.
Right.
So you've got a pair of skis that were probably from around 1912, upgraded in the 20s, and skied on into the 50s, and skied on a lot because hard as diamonds, that stuff wore off.
Right.
So these skis have been skied on and enjoyed for 40 years.